Now, this is a guy that's a little controversial for us. So Isaiah Simmons, he was a three-star recruit. He was from Kansas, and he kind of emerged late on the scene. Josh, we saw him at that camp, Fallon famously. And you look back at the video now, and he was awesome, but we were kind of projecting him as a safety at that time, and he didn't have a ton of interest. Clemson came along kind of late. So what do you remember about him?
We can't talk about AJ Epinesa or Cole Kmet. I got tons of names. No, but not at the top. Isaiah Simmons, rated as a high 3-star. That 5'7" territory, that's a guy who's not going to surprise us if he gets to the NFL. We expect him to get a good look at the NFL, but we're not talking about we projected him to be a first rounder. That's a miss. Isaiah Simmons, I'll tell you exactly what went into his evaluation. He was a safety out of Olathe, Kansas. Kansas City area kid. We saw him. I mean, we had him. He was at a Rivals camp. We had eyes on with him. There were two big things that were a question mark with him. One was he was not very physical for the linebacker position, and so we didn't really see him kicking down there. Or if he did, we had some questions about how he was going to hold up at point of attack, those types of things. The other thing was, as a safety, he was a little stiff. So he's in that tweener body, and ultimately he ends up developing, I think, really the stiffness aspect that we were we definitely saw out of him in high school, was able to be worked out. He was able to become a more fluid, more flexible, more athletic kid, and obviously the clear number one linebacker in this class.
Mike, we seem to be getting there's a lot of these guys we're getting punished on are these safeties who we thought were kind of linebackers, and they told us they were safeties. Do you think that's just the result of the way the NFL's changed maybe in the last 3 or 4 years with offenses?
Yeah, I think that, a kid like this is obviously, he would have been a high draft pick 10 years ago, but the way the NFL is, they want guys that can cover more than ever. And, when you have a guy at safety who drops down the linebacker and has those coverage skills, and he's 6'4", 235, and can run like a deer and play so many positions. I mean, he can blitz off the edge. He can support the run. He can drop into pass coverage. He's got good ball skills. I mean, that type of do-everything guy is always wanted at the NFL level, but more so now than ever. And, Simmons was a guy that sometimes you think, okay, he's versatile enough to play linebacker or safety, so that should be a plus. And I think sometimes that's a negative in our evaluations because we can't predict the future. We just don't know how big they're going to get. And that's what I saw with Simmons is, what's he going to be? Now, looking at it today, maybe we look at guys that are betweeners between safety and linebacker and grade them higher. But it's so hard when they're playing one position. I mean, Luke Kuechly played safety in high school and obviously became one of the best linebackers in the NFL and in college football. There's just no way to see that. They're playing so far off the ball, and there's just no way to see those instincts. So I don't know. I can't figure out those tweeners. I don't do well with tweeners.
It's a myth, and it was because from this standpoint, when we looked at him as a linebacker, we had questions about his physicality, whether he was going to be able to hold up at that. We looked at him as a safety. We had questions about his fluidity and his agility, and we didn't see the player he ultimately became. So at the end, I mean, this is an L. I'll take the L. It's he's obviously exceeded the expectations we had.